Hi guys, welcome, welcome. How are you? Today is gonna be machinery and myself. Ruin is looking for crickets.
I think you started the Spanish version.
Whoops.
Yeah, you
Hi
started the
Kathleen,
Spanish version.
welcome. That's fine. It's okay.
McLovin was over in the other one. Okay, I have you up on screen now. Oh my gosh, crazy! I like it. I have new text under my name. I have a new font. I can lean over. I can see it.
Huh?
I, I, I can see the new font right next
Yeah.
to the satellite.
Yeah.
So what's up, Trona? Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't pull up the chat. Hold on. Let me pull up the chat. But we
All
can
right.
talk while I do that. It's fine.
You're good.
So
Uh
it's been a week and something, couple weeks now.
yeah,
I
it's been over
assume
a week.
you've been doing stuff.
You've been what?
I assume you've been doing stuff.
Um Not much actually. I've been out of work still, so there's not much I can do.
So you're still having that problem with the knee.
No, it's my foot now. I mean, yes, I'm still having problems with my knee, but it's my foot now. I've been out of work because of my foot. I have a stress fracture on my right foot. So I've been out of work since May 16th.
May 16th. So like a month and something now.
Almost
Wow.
a month and a half.
Are you going back?
I don't know when yet. I barely got the MRI done Wednesday, so I have to wait, see what my orthopedist says.
I freaked out for a second because it's hot in here today, so I have a fan on, and I just rolled back into the fan, and the fan is like a little bit unbalanced. It's like it's a really big fan, right?
Yeah.
And it's a little unbalanced, so it wobbles a little bit. And I backed into it, and the chair started wobbling, and I was about to tell you that we're having an earthquake. Oh my gosh. What a crazy day it's been so far. That's all I
Okay.
need is an earthquake, right? Whoops,
Oh,
we went black.
don't jinx it.
Oh, what? Yeah, kind of, almost.
Oh, something happened. We're gone.
I know. That's what I said. I was just talking to you, and it disappeared.
We're still in here. Oh, we're back. I don't know what happened. Like it just disappeared. But we're back. Magic.
It was the earthquake.
Right? It was the earthquake, man.
But yeah, I mean, oh my gosh. So
Mhm.
let's get back to it. I'm sorry. Let's finish catching up. So you've been out of work for about 6 weeks, about a month and a half now,
Yeah.
and you have a fracture in your foot.
Yes. It's like half my
And
foot. I have a
so,
stress fracture.
okay, so what did they tell you to do? Like, how long before you can go back to work?
I don't know yet. They told me so far right now, I think the date said is July 25th. But I
Like
have to wait
a month,
another month, yeah, still.
and you're supposed to be like resting it and stuff, and then it'll
Um,
heal up.
Nothing, like no weight on it, nothing. I can't walk, I can't like nothing. And then if I need to like do something, like if I have to go to the restroom or like to get food, like to the kitchen or whatever, I have to wear a boot and crutches. Like, I can't put no weight on it at all, like whatsoever. I can't.
That's
Like
horrible.
movements, nothing. And I'm like, so yeah.
That is absolutely horrible. Ah, well, I hope it gets better soon. Anyway,
I don't know why it
but
keeps it's off again. I don't know what's going on.
oh my gosh, I did all that and I still don't have the chat up for some reason.
No, it's off. Something happened. It's off again.
The screen's off, but I wonder if
Yeah.
if the chat's still working.
Nope. It shows like the podcast ended. Like it's still live, but it's not playing.
Of course it is. I'll see. I miss saying hi to everybody. Well, I saw you said hello.
I don't know. Let me see. We are back. I don't know what's going on. Like,
Back. We're
I don't
gone.
know
We're
what's
back.
going
We're
on.
gone.
Huh?
I said we're back. We're gone. We're back. We're gone.
We're back.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. It's just a delay. There.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what happened, but we're here, guys. We're back.
Okay. Anyway, so many distractions. So, fraction of the foot. How's the knee then?
The knee, I haven't gotten checked out. Supposedly it's only chronic arthritis now, but I was supposed to go back to get it checked, but then this happened with my foot, and so now I have to see about
You
my
have to
foot.
deal with the foot.
Yeah. Um, I don't think they hurt us, but so yeah, so I've been off work for a month and a half. Because I have a stress fracture on my right foot, and my expected date to go back, I guess, is July 25th. So I haven't actually
Oh,
spoken to my orthopedist. I barely saw today. I guess that's the form that they submitted to short-term disability, and it
right.
says until July 25th. So I'm assuming that as of now, that's my return to work date.
Okay. That is that's a long time. But
Yeah.
hopefully it gets better in July.
Well, I mean, hopefully if they approve my FMLA, because I don't know, it's this big, huge thing, the whole thing. So as of now, I've only been approved for 1 week, right? Only for the first week. So I only got paid for one day. I've only gotten paid $59 for this whole time that I've been off. And my FMLA supposedly was only covered until May 23rd. So it's this big deal. It's a long story, but that's basically what's going on with me. What's going on with you?
Well, my luck hasn't been much better than yours, I guess. Um, no, it hasn't been. It's been crazy here. So at first they denied some of the treatments they wanted to do,
Yeah.
and I guess the way it's been working is that after it gets denied a few times, then my lawyer can go in front of a judge and tell them that there's like reason to do whatever the doctors are asking for, because by then I've seen, like 3, 4, 5 doctors, and they
Yeah.
all recommend this thing, whatever it happens to be.
Uh-huh.
And then when they go to do it, so he goes before a judge. The judge will rule on whether or not it's medically necessary,
Yeah.
and then so far the judge has never said no.
Right.
Like,
So that's good.
and then they go through the whole process of scheduling the procedures, whatever the doctors recommended.
Oh,
So
wow.
I am on track to get that ablation thing they do where they burn the nerves.
Yeah.
So they're going to do that in the middle of my back and the lower back sometime in the next couple months.
They did one on the upper back already or no? I don't remember.
No,
No?
this is the first time
The
that
first
they're
time.
doing it there. Yeah,
Wow.
in
Okay.
3 years. It's been over 3 years since I got hurt. So hopefully, once they do the middle and the lower again, I'll be feeling a lot better most of the time.
I hope so.
But we have to get those things done. Apart from that, I think I have this drain problem. Like our main sewer line, like it goes from the house all the way down to like the street.
Yeah.
And like all the water that leaves your house, whether it's from like washing or toilets or whatever, it all goes through that pipe to get to the outside, right? To get to the main sewer.
Uh-huh.
Well, mine keeps getting clogged. And every time it gets clogged, it takes like a couple days to clear it out.
Uh-huh.
And it's happened like 3 or 4 times since our last podcast.
Wow.
Yeah. It's no fun at all. Basically, I have to sit there with like this really long wire and just like poke at it until until whatever is clogging it goes away.
You should invest in a snake, even if it's a little one.
Yeah, I
Honestly,
know,
at this
but
point.
my resources are a little limited right now. So
I bet.
we'll have to see what happens. But for now, that's pretty much what I do. Right, I go out there and unclog it. I just like sit
Metal
there.
hanger the Mexican way.
They what?
I said a metal hanger the Mexican way.
It basically is, but it's just super long, right? I don't know if you know what like a fish tape is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fish tape is what I'm using because it's the only thing that I have that's long enough.
Wow.
Because it's like 100 feet to the where the drain it empties into the street,
Yeah.
and it's getting clogged like right at the end.
Dang, that sucks.
So I need 100-foot long coat hanger to get there. So anyway, now that we're all depressed and caught up, we're gonna be talking about aliens today, right?
Yeah.
And it's been really interesting because we've talked about kind of like modern sightings and stuff recently. About people getting abducted or close encounters and things like that have happened in fairly recent history, right? Over the last couple hundred years.
Sorry.
So it's okay. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about some other theories and things. So
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, right? But the topic really fascinates me. I get I get really interested in the whole idea of that there are aliens and things like that.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a lot. So I'm no expert. So if anyone hears something that I say is wrong, let me know because I'm still learning about this too. But um, we're going to talk about ancient aliens, aliens that could have been here in the past, right? And why there's explanations for that, or why there's a probability that that's the case, right?
Right.
So everything is all theory, everything is all
Theory based.
hypothesis right now,
Hypothetically
but
speaking.
but you never know, right?
Yeah.
You never know. So I'd like to come at it with kind of an open mind when we talk about it. So so what do you know about like the history of humanity? Like like when did civilization start? When were the first people, like the first Homo sapiens on Earth? Do you know any of the dates or anything?
No. A long time ago. Like, I don't know.
So who do you know about? You know about the, let's see. You know about the Bible, right?
Yeah.
So how far back does the Bible go?
Well, I don't know.
so
Before
so
Christ.
so right now we're in AD, right? It's after the death of Christ, right?
Yeah.
So that's how our like years are counted right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's 2025 years, right?
Yeah.
Since the Bible says that that all this took place, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So if we go back a little bit further, you know about like Rome and Greece and like their empires and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And you know about like Egypt and there's like the pyramids and the Sphinx and all that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So when was Egypt kind of doing its thing? When were they like a great civilization? How many years ago?
I don't know how many. All I
Well,
know
we're
is right now,
looking.
like, all there's left is like, like pyramids and like mummies.
So we're looking at like somewhere in like the 5,000 8,000 year ago range, you know?
Wow.
So like 4,000 BC, right?
BC.
BC, right? Before Christ?
Before Christ. Okay.
Yes. So we're looking at about like 5,000 years ago, like from now.
5,000 years ago.
5,000, yeah.
But if it was
Because
before
it's
Christ.
2,000 years now, right? And then like
Okay.
3,000 years,
Before Christ. Yeah.
7,000, yeah, years
Okay.
before Christ, right? So anyway, so that's when supposedly they did all this pyramid building, all those temples, all the Sphinx, all that stuff, right?
Hmm.
Supposedly. Um, and then if we go back a little bit further, if you go back to like the first great civilization,
Hmm.
supposedly, like where people kind of invented being a civilization, right? So we have to go back to like Mesopotamia, and we have to go back to Sumer, right? Have you heard about them?
Um, I think we
The
briefly covered him on one of our previous podcasts, like like 2 years ago.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about them, right?
Yeah.
Sumer and like Mesopotamia, that whole area. So anyway, they're like the first like great civilization, right? They're like the people who invented being a civilization. And pretty much like mainstream science
Mm-hmm.
talks about it as being like kind of the start of everything. And the reason why they're like super important is because they used to write in this writing called cuneiform, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
called cuneiform. And anyway, it's they basically take like there's a lot of mud over there apparently,
Okay.
and it's really good mud for making stuff
Like for building?
like buildings, all kinds of things. But the other thing they have a ton of is like reeds, right? A lot of reeds grow there in the mud or near the mud, near the rivers.
Uh-huh.
And so they would just grab like a lump of mud, right, and kind of have it like palm size, and they would take a reed and they would cut off the end and make it kind of pointy, like a triangular shape,
Uh-huh.
and they would push that into the mud, right, and like make lines and make little triangles and little different indentations in it,
Uh-huh.
and that's what they used for writing. That was their language. That's how they wrote it all down.
Interesting.
And supposedly they're the first civilization. They're the people who invented writing,
Okay.
how to write stuff down, right?
Uh-huh.
Super important for being a civilization, right? For keeping records and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a bunch of these little clay tablets that people have written on, and there's a whole bunch of information. There's like a ton. All right, so they have archaeologists have unearthed like this new place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Gobekli Tepe. Have you heard anything about that?
How do you pronounce it?
Gobekli Tepe.
Go Becky Pepe. It
Uh
sounds like saying go Becky Pepe. No, I'm just kidding.
huh. Yes.
Okay.
Have you heard of that place?
No.
So the name Gobekli Tepe means like pot-bellied hill. And anyway, there's this place they discovered, and it's a megalithic site. And you know what a megalith is?
No.
No. A megalith is like a really big stone-like structure.
Okay.
So like Stonehenge, is megalithic, right?
Uh-huh.
The pyramids, a lot of the temples all over. Oh, the big pyramids in Mexico, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, they discovered this place and they started to excavate it,
Uh-huh.
and it's a megalithic site. It has these huge stone blocks there, right? I mean, they're not as big as like some of the pyramid blocks,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the other ones that are around the world, but they're still like 20 tons or so, 30 tons. They're still really, really heavy.
You said 20 to 30 tons? Yeah?
So, what's that?
You said they're 20 to 30 tons? Like that's how much they weigh?
Ton.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's like nothing compared to some of the other like blocks and things.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. I did so much research, and it's so hard to like compact it all down into like one podcast. So we're just gonna like cover like the basics, right? And then we can get into like some of the other stuff
You
later
doing
on.
kind of like a timeline?
Um, well,
Or
that's
no?
kind of what we're doing right now. We're kind of
Right.
giving you a frame of reference, right?
Like a timeline, and then we're gonna go into depth individually.
Yeah, we're going to discuss kind of where I think kind of the interesting stuff fits into this.
Okay.
So, Gobekli Tepe is somewhere around 12,000 years old.
12,000.
12,000, yeah.
So that was
So
like
if you figure
10,000 years before Christ.
about 10,000 years before
Dang.
Christ,
Okay.
because you got to add like the 10,000 and then like the
The
2,000
2000 that
currently,
we're in
right?
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so it has to be. It's like 10,000. Yeah, it's so old, and there's a lot of really interesting things there. Like, not just to mention that there's these huge stones, megaliths, and there's like engravings on them. People have carved on them. Um, it's amazing. And then they've only really uncovered like 10% of it or something so far.
Right.
It's really crazy. Yeah, they haven't uncovered all of it yet. It's just partly uncovered.
Wow.
So and anyway, so that kind of puts those like huge structures back into like I said, like 12,000 years ago, somewhere around there.
Hmm.
Anyway, um did we go black again?
Yeah, we should be back on right now.
Okay. So if you think about it, we have us now, right? Then if you kind of follow the Bible backwards, you have like everything to do with Jesus and everything, right?
Hmm.
And if you go back further, you get back into like the Egyptians and the pyramids and everything, right? And if you take all that time and like double it, you go all the way back to when these people built Gobekli Tepe,
No,
right?
that's crazy.
It it's no, it's mind-boggling. It just blew my mind, like watching stuff and reading about it, and it's pretty crazy. So we also kind of discussed this a little bit before, but I'm going to refresh your memory. So, because we talked a little bit about this event. They call it Elder Dryas. Remember the name?
Elder Dryer.
Elder Dryas, yeah. Or Younger Dryas, I'm sorry. Yeah, Younger Dryas.
I don't remember.
Okay, so right about kind of like right before they built Gobekli Tepe, or somewhere in the preceding, so somewhere right around that time,
Hmm.
there was this Younger Dryas event, and it's kind of taken as fact that it happened, right? Because there's evidence all over the world that there was a huge melting of um there was a freeze and then a huge melting of all of this water, right?
Hmm.
So a lot of people like everyone disagrees on what caused the freeze,
Uh-huh.
but like some of the popular theories and things like that are um like an asteroid impact on the Earth or multiple small asteroids.
Hmm.
There's also this there's also theories about like a big solar event, like a solar flare kind of
Hmm.
event that caused everything. But basically what happens is so if we go back further than that, right? We were in an ice age,
Okay, yeah.
and we were coming out of the ice age, and then everything got cold again,
Hmm.
and then we had this big flood event which like touched like everybody on the planet. So it's kind of interesting, and there's like records of this flood happening like everywhere. If you dig down far enough and you keep like dating everything as you go down, you'll reach this point where almost no matter where you're digging,
Hmm.
it'll show that the land there was flooded. And
This
you
is
know
still
how like
before Christ.
geological. What's that?
And this is still before Christ. We're still talking BC, or what time are we talking?
We're talking about like before Gobekli Tepe, like 12,000 years ago.
Okay.
So, well, more than that, right? Because it did take them time to build Gobekli Tepe and everything.
Hmm.
But yeah, we're somewhere around the 12, 13,000 years ago range. It's crazy, right? To think about how long ago that was.
Yeah. Sheesh.
But so what happens is we have this big flood event, right?
Mhm.
And the funny thing is that no matter which culture you go to, no matter where you are, everybody on the planet has like a record, has like a memory of this flood,
Right.
right? Like
Uh-huh.
everybody.
And it all happened like around the same time, or at the same time.
Well, so no one puts a date on it, right? Like if you read the
Okay.
Bible, there was Noah, right? So like you know the story of Noah, right?
Yeah.
So God is like angry with the humans and he figures the only thing he can do is like wipe it all clean and start over.
Right.
And he ends up picking Noah, right? And Noah saves like the birds and the animals and
A
everything.
pair of each.
And he builds this big boat
Yeah.
and he saves everybody, right? But there's no like date on it, right? It doesn't say
Okay.
it happened, Wednesday. There's no like date on the
It
on the
happened yesterday
flood
at
in the
one
Bible.
thirty-seven p.m. Yeah.
So so if we take a look at like the Bible, almost everybody knows that, or a lot of us will know that, right? There's a flood myth, right? If you go to Japan, there's a flood myth. If you go to China, there's a story about a flood, right?
Hmm.
And there's always like somebody that I mean, if you go to the other countries, it's not God and Noah. They all have different names, right?
Uh-huh.
But there's always this God or super powerful being,
Like a
and
mighty
he
horse.
picks this. Yeah, and he picks this one person, and he tells them, "Hey, you need to build a boat like now." And
Interesting.
then they gives them the instructions, right? And like,
Hmm.
oh, you have to save either these people or these animals or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But like literally all over the world, there's a story, and
Yeah.
every like culture has this flood story, right?
Yeah.
So that story coincides with this flood event that we happened, right? Right,
Hmm.
right at the Younger Dryas, right? And this is where the story. So we can talk about Mexico and we can talk about Japan or we can talk about China, but I think we kind of have to focus on the Anunnaki. We have to talk about Sumer, right?
Yeah.
That whole culture in there, because since they have like the oldest writing that we know of, they have
Hmm.
like the oldest stories. And if we look at Sumer and if we look at their stories, they have a lot of interesting stuff. But their big story um, is the Epic of Gilgamesh, is what it's called now. but a lot of their stories talk about the same kind of things, and
Mhm.
the things they talk about a lot is the Anunnaki. And basically, the Anunnaki are beings that came from the sky, right?
Yeah.
And they came to Earth, and they have kind of like a whole creation story, like the Bible, right?
Mhm.
And in a lot of ways, it's very, very similar. It has a lot of the same things going on. So these Anunnaki who came from the sky, to kind of summarize everything, they help people develop civilization. And their whole story goes back like way, way, way further. So the Sumerians, they their stories that talk about the Anunnaki, of course you can't, I don't know if you can believe all of it, but if you can, then the story gets even crazier because supposedly they came to Earth like 450,000 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, a really, really long time ago. Anyway, these beings descended, right?
Mhm.
And uh, oh, so you've read the Bible. Do you know there's like some parts of the Bible that they found in the desert in these like clay jars, right? The Dead Sea Scrolls. Have you heard about those?
No.
No. Okay. So you know how you know the Bible gets edited a lot, right? As time goes on, and right
Yeah.
at the beginning, it got like really edited because there are parts of the Bible that they don't consider to be like legit, and they don't like teach them.
Mhm.
But there are like books on the of the Bible
Yeah.
that exist in these Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, real quick, we'll talk about them. Real quick, like 3 minutes. So these sheep herders, these kids that were herding sheep up in like the mountains,
Uh-huh.
they lose a sheep. They think it went into one of these caves, right?
Mhm.
And they don't want to go into this cave. So they take a rock and they throw it into the cave, thinking it's going to hit the back of the cave. It'll scare the sheep, and the sheep will come out, or goat, or whatever it happens to be, right?
Right.
So they throw this rock in there, and when it goes inside, they hear like breaking earthware, like plates and stuff.
Uh-huh.
What it sounds like, right? So they go in there and they find all of these scrolls. They broke this big jar that had like a scroll in it, like this giant scroll.
Squirrel?
Scroll, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, it's like a rolled up piece of paper, right?
Uh-huh.
But they're big. They're big and they're old. But basically, people have been writing down stuff on them, and then you kind of roll them up, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, they find all these scrolls, and they eventually, like, archaeologists, people start to get involved in it, and they start taking a look at them and they start translating them,
Mhm.
and they find out that these scrolls are basically the Bible, but there's extra stories. There's more. So anyway, one of these books in the Bible talks, how can I put it? Um, it gives you kind of like an alternative story to what the Bible looks like it condensed a little bit of,
Uh-huh.
but it kind of gives you like a different take on the whole thing. So basically, I think it's called the Book of Enoch, and there's interesting stuff in this book of the Bible because it talks about, once again, the flood and all that kind of stuff, but it has a little bit different take on like what exactly happened.
Right.
So basically, this guy was like a disciple, right? He was like a prophet, and he gets taken up to heaven, and God gives him certain instructions and things like that. And eventually, he has to tell his grandson Noah to build the ark. He's like the intermediary, like between God and Noah and everything. But so yeah, he gets sucked up to heaven in a flaming ship or a flaming something. Anyway, he gets pulled up to heaven and he kind of hangs out there a lot, I guess, which is interesting, right?
Spaceship.
And anyway, so there's this book that exists. So we don't get too far off track. And it talks about a lot of these things that kind of the Bible doesn't quite cover. Yeah. So, do you know that it also talks about giants?
Oh.
Like the Bible like mentions them, right? They call them Nephilim. No, doesn't ring a bell.
No, I mean, yeah, I remember. I thought you were gonna keep going, so I'm like, okay.
No, no, they call them Nephilim.
Okay.
So basically, if you follow the whole story, and the funny thing is the story of the Anunnaki it's really similar. So God or this being depending on which version you're reading,
Right.
comes to the earth, and in the Bible, I think they call them watchers, right?
Watchers.
Yeah, like they're angels, like they're tasked with like watching humans,
Like guards.
watching people. No, just kind of
Security.
watching. I haven't. Yeah, they call them watchers, but I guess they're supposed to help people in certain instances. They're angels, right? They're supposed to be good guys. So what happens is, it seems like God, or even in the Anunnaki story, the all powerful being kind of takes like breaks or goes away for a while, and the Watchers or the guys in the Anunnaki story, they end up taking a liking to human females.
They take a what? A 19 what?
They take a liking to human females.
A liking for human female?
Yes.
So like they start to women.
They start to like interbreed with people. And from there you end up with these Nephilim, these giants. They're like they're what happens when Watchers or when the Anunnaki breed with like regular people.
Wow.
You end up with giants.
Okay.
And apparently they're not usually too friendly. They're pretty upset because they don't get to hang out with their like Watcher parent, and people on Earth really don't like them either. So they're kind of yeah. They get like the short end of the stick a lot. Anyway, totally got me off track. We started talking about giants. So if you take a look at it, the stories are so similar in a lot of ways, right? And like I said, the same thing happens with the Anunnaki, except I think in their story there's one thing that's a little different. because it goes back so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this is just conjecture on the stories on the stuff that was written, but as far as I understand it, um, they came to Earth because they needed gold.
Gold.
Gold, yes.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird, right? Like like why do these supreme beings need gold? But they need gold,
Okay.
and they bring a workforce, and they basically have like this this breed, this group that they have working for them. And like I said, this starts like 450,000 years ago or something when they first show up.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they're like mining for gold, and they start mining. They start kind of mining in that whole Mesopotamia area, but they're a little further east, I believe, when
Uh-huh.
they start off, and then they end up moving like their base a couple times, and eventually they go to Africa and they do a lot of mining there,
Okay. Wow.
and their workforce, their like slave labor or whatever, they like revolt against them. And then the Anunnaki, like this, the supreme, uh, their watchers and their their supreme being, right?
Uh-huh.
They they need to find another way to have like a workforce doing stuff for them, because I guess they don't want to do all the mining, right?
Yeah.
So they so here's where like the conjecture goes crazy, right? But here's where it becomes interesting to me, really. So supposedly they create humans. They basically create a man, and I think they actually name this worker race in their book. You want to know what they call him?
What?
Adamu.
Adamu?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
like Adam, like
Oh.
Adam.
Okay.
Weird, right? Weird coincidence. So they call him Adamu, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they start like creating them. And what happens is they die off quicker than what they need.
Okay.
So uh, the story's really complicated. There's certain ones of the Anunnaki that like do certain different things, and
Mm-hmm.
they seem to have like a Anunnaki that's good at like medicines and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, she takes it upon herself, and she like genetically manipulates stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and she creates she basically gives man she gives Adam his Eve. She creates like female humans so that they can breed. And
Oh.
so they don't have to build new Adamus all the time. They're like, yeah, we'll just let them breed, and then we'll have our workforce, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, after they give them the ability to breed, they end up with like a bunch of humans running around. In fact, they have more than they need, right?
Yeah.
And then the other strange thing that happens, which is kind of happens in that book in the Bible, is that the watchers, the Anunnaki who are kind of just hanging around helping out with stuff,
Yeah.
they start to get interested in humans as well.
Oh, okay.
And they also end up like breeding with humans.
And what does
So
that?
we
What does
what's
that
that?
make? What does that make?
It, so they end up creating giants as well. They end up creating Nephilim as well.
Okay.
So now we have Nephilim in their story too. They have giants, right?
Oh, I see what you. Yes. Okay, I see what you mean now.
Yeah, yeah. So they like breed with humans. So you end up with like this half human, half Anunnaki person, and they're supposed to be huge. Well, remember I was telling you like they're old. They have really old stories, right? They have like the first stories that we have written down,
Yeah.
and they have the story about this dude named Gilgamesh, right? Well, Gilgamesh is like 17 feet tall or something like that. 14
Damn.
feet tall. Yeah, he's huge.
Wow. Oh,
There's like carvings of him. It's really funny. There's like carvings,
wow.
right? And
Uh-huh.
and in the carvings, he's holding like a full-on lion, like a cat.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Okay.
Wow.
So we have all these weird coincidences, these stories which line up, right? And some of
Yeah.
the stuff lines up with things that actually happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know there was a flood. We know a lot of these things that happened,
Right.
and both of these stories, both the Bible and the Anunnaki's story, kind of have a lot of things in common. So this is where like some of the non-mainstream theories come out,
Yeah.
you know? So what if the Anunnaki was really actually here for gold? Like let's say that part of the story is true, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Anunnaki are here for gold. Well, why do they need gold? Well, this one dude says he translated some of the stories, and if you read through them correctly, basically what happened is they're on another planet.
I was gonna ask, well, where did they come from if they're coming here
They're
for
actually
gold, like
from
from where?
another planet, yes.
Okay.
And this planet comes around like every, what is it, 26,000 years or something like that. That work out right? I think that's about right. But
Uh,
anyway, so it gets close enough to us every once in a while for them to come over, and they come over to Earth, and they come and they figure out that there's gold here. Then they start mining for it. Right? They uh, they have that worker revolt, and then they genetically manipulate the species that are here on Earth
yeah.
to make a little bit smarter species that can do the work for them.
Mm.
Because like Neanderthals aren't smart enough, right? So they genetically manipulate us, and they use their own DNA to do that. This is how the theory goes, right? Because they use their own DNA, they make some changes so that we're not quite as smart as them, and we can't use all of our brain
Uh-huh.
like like they do.
Yeah.
So they create us, but then their breeding program goes crazy, right? We become overpopulated. Some of them decide to have kids with us, and there's like giants running around, and everything goes to heck,
Yeah.
right?
Out of control.
Yes, everything out of control. So everything goes crazy, and their leader comes back and he says, "Look at this mess that's going on. Let's just start over." And he causes this flood
Yeah.
because he needs to get rid of the Nephilim. He wants to thin out the herd. Right? There's too many
Yeah.
people running around causing problems. So he causes this giant flood, and we start over. Right?
Yeah.
Well, some of the Anunnaki feel bad, right?
Yeah.
And they figure they are going to help humanity. They're going to help humans because they feel bad for us because basically we're almost all gone again. And so they teach humans about like farming, about science, about all this stuff. Like how to track the stars and how to write and all the
Educate us.
important things about being a civilization, right?
Yeah.
And supposedly, according to this guy's like translations, everything kind of lines up with what happens there in Sumer. This is why Sumer exists, right? Because the Anunnaki help people learn how to govern themselves and learn how to write and farm and all of that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So this is the weird part because, well, it's all weird at this point, but it gets even more interesting if you take all of these things into account and then you say, okay, well, I know there are some Anunnaki here or whatever you want to call them in whatever place you're living, right?
Yeah.
But they're all over, right? They're not just in Sumer, they're in Mexico, right? Because you have like these pyramids being built. You have these, um, you have like the story of like Quetzalcoatl and everything.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, yeah.
You have these same stories in like Japan and everything. Oh yeah, well they taught us how to do these things, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
this is how we learned how to write, and this is how we learned how to raise crops.
Uh-huh.
So it happens like everywhere at once. So instead of being like this supreme being, well, maybe it was aliens,
Aliens.
right?
Maybe.
It kind of fits in the whole story, right? Because you can't. It's just amazing that everyone has the same like story.
Yeah.
Like like why does everybody have the same story, and why do like people suddenly become smart enough to raise crops? Why do they have all these things? And then the other pieces that are really mind-boggling are these megalithic structures. Not only like Gobekli Tepe, because people could probably build that. Like you can move 20 tons. It's not easy. The place where they got the stones is like 200 yards away. It's not that far away, right? But if you look at like the pyramids and if you look at some of the things that have been built around the world, these megalithic structures,
Yeah.
like where did these things come from? Because a lot of them are cut in such a way that we can't do it now. We can't move some of
Right.
some of the blocks are like too big. We physically like can't move them.
Yeah.
Like even with our stuff right now, and it's like you're gonna tell me they just got a whole bunch of people together and move them? Like it, I don't know. And the way some of these things are cut, like the how fine like they're cut and the finishes on them,
Perfectly.
they are amazing. They are amazing. And wow, it's
They need to come back and teach us more.
it's it is just amazing.
Yeah,
Like how
it's
did
mind
people
blowing.
do this? Like we have they're just learning how to like farm and stuff. And I guess the Egyptians didn't even have the wheel at the beginning, like when they were supposedly building these things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Like I know when I know later on they had contact with like Greece and Rome and everything, and
Yeah,
I mean over the thousands of years we ended up with the wheel, right?
yeah.
But like when these pyramids supposedly are built, there wasn't. So they weren't like
How do they
using
move
anything with
everything around? How do they? Yeah,
yeah, they weren't even using wheels to move this stuff around.
yeah,
And so if you don't have the wheel, you don't have like the pulley. There's a lot of stuff you need
yeah.
to make all this happen. And it kind of fits into to everyone's story where so somebody shows up, probably from space.
From the sky,
I'm just saying,
the
like,
men in the sky.
if you're not looking at like the religious viewpoint, someone showed up from
Right,
space, probably from space. These people are pretty advanced, but they need something from this planet, and they probably need workers. I'm thinking that's the whole deal, right? Maybe they didn't
right.
bring enough with them. Whatever. Maybe they can't bring enough with them. I don't know.
They need their slaves.
But they need something from us, from the planet.
Yeah.
And they genetically manipulate the creatures, the things that are living here, and they get themselves a workforce. And eventually they have to leave for some reason. And we are left alone, but we're now smart enough. Like it seems like they taught us something.
So we have to wait another like 21,000 years before they can.
Well, well, here's the crazy part. Here's another crazy part. It's coming back around.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. I
When?
mean it's
It's like how many
it's
years away
not
are we?
we won't be alive for it.
Amen. Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
How much more?
I think I think some dude said it's around 1,000 years or so.
Oh.
But it's coming back around. I mean, they could get here early, right? You never know.
We'll be watching from sky.
Maybe they come back early. Maybe they've become so
Maybe the math was wrong.
technologically advanced that they come back early. Or how about this? Maybe they've already come back, and this is why we get all these UFO sightings,
Oh, yeah. But then
right?
again, we've always had them, no? We've
Well,
always had,
exactly. But
throughout time, we've always had the sightings, right?
we've had them for yeah, pretty much forever.
So maybe they're the other
But I mean,
ones?
for forever, you got to think about like, well, when does forever start for us? I mean,
Maybe they're not the
you
only
can only
ones.
go back to Gobekli Tepe to get like carvings on rock. Like that's the oldest ones we have, right?
Uh,
And then if you go back to the like Egyptians, they have their gods and things like that. But
yeah.
wouldn't something with like really superior technology just be a god at that point?
But then you know what's weird because for like every area is different, even though the same thing happened, but everything is still like different. Like yes, the how can you say, like the structures are like similar, they're the same, but at the same time it's like the exact same thing, but in different places, different ways. So I don't know. I don't know. It's just it's a lot. It's a lot to like take in and to think about because then it makes you wonder. For instance, like the pyramids in Egypt versus the pyramids in Mexico, right? So when did that happen?
right?
If they didn't happen at the same time, but then again, it's like the same story, different gods, different everything, but at the end of the day, the exact same thing.
It 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 is mind-boggling, and it's hard to like grasp it all together, and it's hard to put it all together in one like coherent story because there's just so much there. Like we can get sidetracked in almost any one of these topics and like talk about it for like the rest of the podcast.
Forever.
Like if you just pick one thing, you know,
I think
we,
each species of aliens was like the different god in the different areas.
oh look, Sinistar is here. Did you say hi, Sinna?
Yeah,
And did we say see everyone? You said
I've
hi
been
to Sinna.
messaging. I've been messaging because I didn't want to interrupt you. You were locked in.
I was monologuing, but uh, but yeah. So I think if you wanna whittle it all down, they came, they needed something, they made humans to help them get it, and they figured they might as well help us out a little bit, maybe for when they come back. You know what I mean?
So they came because they needed something. Then they basically produced us slaves, no, for us
Yes.
to work for them, right? But then everything
Yes.
kind of got out of control because we got overpopulated, and then that's where the flooding came, right? And then they're supposed to come back. They
Yes.
helped us survive, but they're supposed to come back.
Yes. So they like I said they end up leaving, and they're supposedly they get close enough to come back pretty soon, but maybe like in the last whatever 20 some 30,000 years they figured out a way to get here faster.
Maybe they want with me.
or
I don't know.
here's another idea. So we covered all of these different alien species, right?
Yeah.
And almost none of them look like the Anunnaki. But what if these are other either species that are living out there
Uh huh.
and they're coming here to check on the Anunnaki, or these are other species that the Anunnaki like developed on other planets. Like
Could
maybe
be
they
too.
maybe they didn't come here first, right?
They're having them check
They
on us.
yeah, they went to this other planet and they made like the greens or the grays, right?
Yeah.
And then they went to this other planet and they ended up like the native species were like lizards and they
The
made the
reptilians.
lizard people, right? But if they did it there first, then they would be like way more advanced than us.
I don't know.
I-
We would be the humanoids.
so all of those other aliens are coming here and maybe they're looking for the Anunnaki. Maybe they don't like what happened. Like, hey, you genetically manipulated us, or maybe they just want to find them, and they're like, oh, well, maybe they went over here, and they're like, oh, look, there's people here, or there's aliens here, and
I
they're
don't know.
like, oh, well, we should keep an eye on them in case they know something, you know?
I don't know. Maybe each planet is like how we know the world as like countries divided into countries. Maybe that's what it is for them.
I don't know. I don't know. So this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking that we're gonna have to do.
Okay.
Um, I think we should continue to do like alien episodes,
Yeah.
but I think we should do some more like abduction stuff, more recent stuff.
Ooh. Uh-huh.
Because there's been more abductions and there's crazy stuff going on with like the globes that's floating
Yeah.
around. So I think we do need to talk about those in the next season.
Okay.
But I think we should start doing a a what's wrong with history episode. like a series,
Huh?
like a what's wrong with history. Like, so, for example, we can talk about Egypt for
Yeah.
like weeks, but we can do an episode on Egypt. Like, what is wrong with the artifacts in Egypt? Like, what artifacts, what things, what proof is there that, what things are there that lead people to believe that the Egyptians didn't make them,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
right? And we can do that for like all over. Like,
Mhm.
there's stuff in Mexico, there's stuff in Japan, there's
There's stuff
stuff
here.
in,
There's stuff
there's
everywhere.
stuff, there's stuff everywhere,
Yeah.
and all throughout time. Like, we can talk about Gobekli Tepe and why that is so weird,
Yeah.
like that it's there, right? So I think we should have like an episode dedicated just to those kind of things.
Yeah.
Because if not, then we will never talk about alien abductions and the weird stuff going on right now again. Because it literally will take us like years to cover all those other ones.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
I think that's pretty cool. I think people will like it too. It's one of the favorite episodes anyway. So
Okay. So for next season, I will definitely include like a weird, like unexplained something in some country, and we
unexplained
will
mystery.
just kind of we will just kind of travel around the world and take a look at all of them that I can find information on.
Carmen San Diego.
I it was
Where in the
it was
world is?
it was so hard just to whittle this down into something I could talk to you about for only an hour.
Um,
It was so hard to get it down to like an hour. It was
mm,
something that could fit in about an hour,
yeah.
because there's just so much. It is just nuts. So definitely we will continue to do aliens, but I think maybe focus on more recent alien stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I do really want to talk about the weird floating globy thingies that everyone's seeing, and then there have been more abductions and stuff like that. There's also like a alien thing going on. Do you know about Skinwalker Ranch?
Oh, I think we talked about that, right?
A little bit, yeah. But there's always like more research going on there. So I think we should do like a more like current alien episode,
Yeah.
and then we should also do like the unexplained stuff. And then there's also other theories. Like, aliens aren't the only theory, but it's the only one we're going to talk about today. But
Right.
there's other theories on what's going on with all of those things. So we can talk about that separate in those episodes. But then we can also talk about aliens. Did you ever watch that show Ancient Aliens on like the History Channel?
No.
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 I'll have to send you a picture, because like the guy that's on there, he's very animated and he has like kind of crazy hair. But there's like this like meme picture of him, and he's going like this. Wait, let me see if I can see my hands on the screen. Do I see them? Do I see them?
What?
I don't know. It like froze. Like I couldn't see it. Anyway, he's got his hands like this, right? And he's going like
Yeah.
aliens. But yeah, it's pretty. My tablet's like glitching or something. I can't even see it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, yeah. He's got his hands up. And he's going like aliens. But definitely those two things. And I was gonna kind of leave it up to you what you want to do for the next episode.
Oh my achievers! Next episode. Honestly, I don't know.
Because I have also been doing a bunch of research into like lost treasures,
Yeah.
and there's another one that I found out about, and then I started reading and watching a bunch of shows about.
Uh-huh.
And it happens like in between us again. There's more treasure in between us,
Oh,
but it's different.
would that be like in the mystery one?
Yep, like our mystery, like lost treasure one.
We can do that. We can do that.
So I was thinking we can either do that or we can do the psychic episode with the tarot cards again,
Oh,
or
whichever.
we can do the opposite day, which we still have to do.
We could do the mystery one.
Mysteries? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. That one is like already ready. We could do that one right now.
No, because we have the Spanish figures waiting for us.
Yes, that's fine.
What up from cage side at the fight? Wait, what?
No,
You're at the fights?
no. Yeah, Rust Bucket is like an announcer or something for like MMA.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's up, Rust? All right. So next episode, Lost Treasure in the Desert.
Yep.
And if anyone who is watching figures out that I said something completely wrong along the way, let me know, because yeah, let me know. Thanks for dropping by, Russ.
All right. So
Alrighty.
don't forget, guys, we're still doing the giveaways. If anybody wants to participate, we're giving away bottle openers.
Cool.
So you can open your
Yes,
cold ones.
the
Right? And it comes
the
with
other
a little...
one, the other one got sent out already, by the way, and Carl already got his, and it arrived like on his birthday.
Oh, nice! That's good. That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah. So if you're a little tipsy, we got this for you, so you don't lose it. You might pull a chona and forget you have it on you and think you lost it, but you didn't really lose it. It's just been here the whole time. We have different colors and the different logo designs. If you guys want to participate, just at the end of the stream, oh, it's the other way. This is a sample one, guys, so it's not like done right. This is like the first one that he did, to try it out. But we do have different colors and different designs or different logos. If you guys want to participate, just comment at the end of the stream, right, in the comment section, that you want to participate for the bottle opener, right? You want to win one. And we have two more winners that we'll choose.
Yep.
We'll choose them on the next stream, guys. So you guys can comment if you wanna participate, just to get some channel merch. And thank you guys. Thank you guys for your continued support. We really appreciate you. We will see you guys in the next podcast, which will be mystery. You wanna?
Yes, lost treasures somewhere in between Chona and me. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I guess we will see you on the next podcast.
Take care, guys. Thank you. We'll see you guys.